The Bay House installation at Seabreeze Park is one of the 4 installations of the Freeport Waters exhibit that celebrates maritime traditions of the village of Freeport, located on Woodcleft Avenue along Freeport's nautical mile.
Freeport is not just the nautical mile. It's all our traditional waterways. It's our shipbuilders. It's our bay houses. It's such a tradition in the village of Freeport, the maritime aspect of it. We want to say thank you for all you've done to remember all these important facts of the village of Freeport and keep the history involved.
When I first began working on documenting maritime culture, I knew that I wanted to record for posterity and for the historical record the experiences and the memories of the people who worked and lived on the water. So we had a treasure trove of oral histories, over 100 oral histories of different people that are all reflected in this exhibit. And when we did our book about the bay houses, we had all of those historical records as well as the photographs. So you'll see historic photographs as well as contemporary photographs.
What I learned about Freeport and the surrounding areas is that it's a place that's really connected to the environment. I mean, what's so amazing about Freeport is that it's a city, but its connections to the water and to the marshes that are the shelter islands for Long Island is really close and intimate. This work started for me, as I mentioned, almost 30 years ago when we started first looking at the bay houses as a kind of historical subject, a subject that dealt with heritage, and then it's grown since then. And Nancy has created this overlapping series of stories, the rum running, the legends of Freeport, for example, the boat building exercises, and has, through that layering, made it a really very deep and interesting history.
There are many stories of Freeport, and we wanted to introduce people to the traditions that make this place unique. So when you think about the bay houses, you also have to think about rum runners, because rum runners always used bay houses for hiding places. And with bay houses, you also have this eclectic group that started with the baymen, then went to the rum runners, and then went to recreational fishermen, as well as clam diggers and people that just enjoy being on the water. And it's a unique architecture that is very prevalent here in Freeport, but not throughout Long Island. We really wanted to make this an interactive experience, so we did interviews with people who knew many of the people that were carrying on these traditions and created captivating videos that are also part of this exhibit on our YouTube channel.
Visitors can enable links on their smartphones by scanning barcodes on each installation that will take them to videos about the exhibit.
Some of the stories where him and Shorty would go off there and they'd get some rum and they'd come back in, run it up into Woodcliff Canal. They had money one day that got all wet. They had it in one of the bay houses all tacked up on the wall, and somebody came in there, I guess one of the wardens, and they had all this cash tacked up on the walls because it was all wet.
The mission of Long Island Traditions is to document, present, and preserve the living cultural heritage of the various ethnic and occupational and maritime traditions of our region, as well as to help preserve the local traditional architecture.
We developed the basic structure. Each of the signs has the same basic format, and then we started to think about what kinds of things could be added outside or just within the frame of the sign itself where the information is born that would add an image that could be perceived at a distance. One of the things that jumped out immediately is the profile of the bay house seen across the horizon. When you look out at the marshland, for example, which is very flat, you see these buildings rising up right on the horizon line, always with a flag. When the owner is home, the flag is up, and the motorboat is out in front, and that became a compelling image. From that basis, we started thinking about the other signs in the same way. So the boat builder's sign has the prow and the propeller, because we thought these are essential images that one associates with boat building. The Freeport Legends was a simple banner that, the image of something held up that people used to celebrate local characters was something that came to mind almost immediately. And then the rum runners, of course, it's all about whiskey and rum. So the bottles, the barrels, we thought that would be fun. And as I said, a lot of the artifacts also came from local resources. So we really did go out and try to find what people thought of as being important. We'd ask people, do you have anything we could put in these signs? And they said, I've got a pier, I've got a propeller, I've got an old oar, I've got some rope. And then we put it together as a kind of sculpture.
There are many different types of people in these exhibits that we wanted to honor and also recognize, the things that they accomplished in their own lives.
There's so much opportunity for this kind of exercise that brings a community together. I mean, it's evidence that community building through heritage is a really important exercise, especially in the United States, where we have so much diversity.
Congratulations, thank you very much. Great job. There you go. Yeah, good job.
For Push Pause in Freeport, this is Greg Blank.